Welcome to the Weekly Spiral. You are tuned into episode 23. We are, of course, going to talk about the Super Bowl today. We're going to give you our predictions. I know you've been waiting. You have been shaking in your boots, excited, and we are going to give you them today. We're going to walk through who we think might be an unexpected star, give our predictions for Super Bowl MVP, a breakdown of offense versus defense from both sides, and go into that. I'm your host, Cyrus, today. I got my boy Casey here and Matt Durgin. How you guys doing today?
Good. Nervous.
Doing well. I'm excited. It should be a good game. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Anxious.
Yeah.
Better word.
Yeah, this will be, I think, the best game of the playoffs. Is that a hot take?
Those wild card
that
round
Texans
games were
Bills
pretty good.
one. Texans Bills was pretty crazy.
Texans Bills was
But
good.
I mean,
Texans Chiefs was crazy.
Texans Chief was But I agree with you though.
Comeback. Everybody loves a comeback.
but it was all done in a half, and then it was
Yeah.
over.
That was part of the beauty.
In terms of magnitude and talent wise, I think you're right. This would be the most competitive, exciting back and forth game.
And high scoring, I think. We got some
Hammer
high-powered
the over.
offenses.
Bet your life on the over.
Bet your life on the over.
Yeah.
What's the over-under? I think we're looking at 54.5 as the over-under for points. So you're saying over on that.
Hammer that.
Okay. All right.
Hammer that.
I could totally see it. I think it's likely.
Yeah.
What do you think,
So
Casey?
I
high-scoring
think it's probably likely. I'm surprised you don't have as much faith in the Niners defense to keep it.
They'll make some big plays, and we'll talk about that. But you can't stop Mahomes at the end of the day. Like, he's going to get his points and his yards. So I'm more confident in the Niners having that big play rather than stopping Mahomes throughout the game. That makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Let's talk about the Niners defense against Mahomes and the Chiefs offense then. That's a good segue into that. So what do you guys think? Who does this matchup favor? Is it sort of break even? What are we thinking here? I'll let you start, Casey.
Well, for the Chiefs offense, they're rated 22.7% DVOA, above average. So that's against a team. The average offense against whatever XYZ team is performing at a certain level. So if you're playing the Dolphins or something like that, and you get 50 points, but everybody's getting 50 points, that means your DVOA is 0 for that. If you're playing the Niners and you score 50 points and the normal team is scoring 30 points, then your DVOA is almost double, right? So you're getting more return, or you're performing better against better teams. So the Chiefs overall are performing 22.7% better against teams than the average team.
It's really good.
If that makes sense.
That's really good.
It's really good. On the flip side, the Niners are negative 19.8%, which is good on
great.
defense.
Yeah, the lower the number, the better for defensive DVOA.
That means
offense.
teams scoring against them score 19.8% less points against the Niners defense than average, than they normally do against other teams. So those are two strengths, the Chiefs offense and the Niners defense. And I think it's going to be really interesting seeing the matchups at the skill positions. How are the Niners going to decide to guard Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce? I think is the main deal. I know the Niners don't travel their corners or their secondary much, if at all. And are they going to shade a safety over Tyreek? Are they going to try to jam him off the line? What are they going to do to try to handle his speed? Because his speed can change games. Even if he's not touching the ball, he can pull coverage. He can move linebackers. He can create distractions and window dressing to open up space underneath for the run game, for play-action passing, for Kelce, for RPOs, all this kind of stuff, even when he's not touching the ball. And that's, by the way, blog on Tyreek Hill and what he does for the Chiefs offense.
There you go.
So if you're interested in learning more about that, it'll all be up tomorrow on Wednesday. So it'll be interesting to see how the Niners handle Tyreek Hill. And if they decide to double him, that's saying, all right, Kelce, you're going to be manned up on somebody. Not necessarily in man coverage, but you're going to be in a zone with one guy on you, generally. So whether that's Fred Warner or whoever they feel like can match up well against him, we'll see. He's a good receiver. He's not as good as polished as Kittle in blocking, but he's one of the best receiving tight ends in the league for sure.
He might be the best,
I think, pure
strictly receiving tight end.
Yep.
Like Kittle is very well rounded, and like you said, he's as good of a blocker as they come, and I think that comes from the desire to do so. But just from, I don't know, it might be Kittle, to be honest. But
they're different systems
Yeah.
too, so he gets more targets. But I think Kelsey is an oversized receiver rather than a tight end.
that makes sense.
He
yeah.
doesn't really block
Yeah.
all that much and doesn't really try on to block, but like he's
No, he's not asked to as
a
much.
6'4", 250 receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's super physical during it. Like I think Kittle's yards after catch is better than anybody.
Yeah.
But Kelsey is very physical in his routes, so he can muscle people off, and he knows how to manipulate defenders a little bit better than Kittle might, and muscle people around during his route, so he doesn't get thrown off as much or stuff like that. He can make contested catches, but afterwards you sort of like. You tackle him once and he's going to go down. Or
Yeah.
Kittle's, he's going to run. If you tackle him out, you're going to feel it.
Yeah.
You're going to feel that for sure. They're both top 20 yards after catch, all players, not just tight ends, as well as what is the name of the Raiders tight end?
Waller.
Yeah,
Darren
Darren Waller. So those three are the only tight ends in the top 20. The rest are receivers and running backs.
Jimmy Graham's not in there?
Jimmy Graham is probably like
Honorable mention.
maybe top 100.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah.
Like Kelsey turns the 50-50 balls into 80-20.
Yeah.
Anything that's within his grasp, he drops a lot of passes that he should catch, but the ones that are more contested, he's coming down.
He
with
comes
it.
down with them.
Yeah.
Which kind of takes me to my strategy. If I were Robert Saleh, defense coordinator of the Niners, he's much smarter than I am, so he probably won't be doing this. But I am going one-on-one with Kelsey, trusting Fred Warner, trusting Dre Greenlaw, the rookie linebacker who's undersized for linebacker, put him like a safety. I would put him on them, try Jaquaski Tart on him, strong safety, and then I'm putting Jimmy Ward, deep center field. I'm taking away Tyreek Hill. That deep play, you know they're going to go for at least once or twice in this game. That deep shot to Tyreek Hill. And if I'm the Chiefs, first drive, I'm taking that shot. Lining up against Sherman, and it's going deep, you got to go for it. You got to set that tone early. If they connect early on that deep for a touchdown for a 50, 60-yard play, that is going to totally, that's the first knockdown punch given in the game.
Yeah.
If they get the ball first and do that, obviously. Because Kelsey, he will kill you. He will beat you, dink and dunk you, get the 10 yards every play. But the Niners linebackers won't stop him, but I think they are good enough in coverage to play physical with him. To kind of, limit his production. And also, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm going to try to run the ball early as well, because their running game isn't their strong suit at all. But if they can go out there and get 4 or 5 yards early on first down, make things a whole heck of a lot easier, opens up the passing game. Niners' run defense isn't all that good. They're about average in comparison to their number one pass defense. So I'm not saying that the running game is going to win them this game, but if they provide that threat early, I think that keeps the Niners defense on their toes.
Yeah. And the fun fact with Tyreek Hill, when he was out with his collarbone injury, the Chiefs averaged about 25 yards less on the ground than when he was in. So
they run that jet sweep a lot with him, Hardman, even Watkins.
They'll throw him on that motion, and linebackers out, because if you're a step late against Tyreek Hill or McCole Hardman, they're on the edge and they're gone.
Done.
So you got to respect that. So linebackers step over to protect that, and then that opens up lanes underneath. If you can win up front, which I think is going to be the difficult part for the Chiefs, is creating holes, not necessarily dealing with the linebackers, but dealing with that front of Nick Bosa and all the stars that you've got on the front line. Can you open up a hole there to allow your running back to get up to Damian Williams, who's flown under the radar? It seems like since Kareem Hunt left, like you don't hear anything about the Chiefs' run game. But
Shady McCoy had a few moments here and there.
Nothing.
But in the postseason, I don't think, is he even suiting up in the postseason? Or has he even played that much?
He hasn't. He's been hurt.
Yeah, but I think he might be ready for the Super Bowl.
No, he's going to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. But I mean, because Niners run a wide nine technique, so those tackles are outside offensive tackles. All defensive ends are outside tackles. So teams have been running behind the tackles and guard, pulling somebody and taking advantage of that. And the first game they played the Rams, that's how they scored. They literally ran the ball 80 yards down the field. And I think if they kind of mimic that, not when you have Mahomes, who's way better than Goff, but if you run the ball and just let them know you're not afraid to run on them, that causes them to bring in a third linebacker, and that opens things up.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep an eye on, I think. That run game for the Chiefs.
For sure.
I mean,
For sure.
it can be shut down. Mahomes can still throw over 500 yards with no problem. But the Niners are different beasts when it comes to passing game and pass rush. I think Mahomes has to get rid of the ball quickly. I don't think he can do 7 step drops. He'll have his chances to roll out and stuff like that. But 3 steps, that ball's got to be out. A lot of slants, a lot of RPOs, I think. A lot of comeback routes.
Yeah.
That's me. Because the Niners are going to run cover 3, cover 4, I think, the entire game.
Yeah.
Or at least majority of the game.
And the Chiefs had the skill positions to be able to turn those 3-4 yard slants into big games.
Touchdowns.
So if you can throw those efficiently, and the Niners will probably know that they're going to want to do that, especially in the beginning, tire them out, do that kind of stuff.
Yep.
You might see an exotic blitz or a zone drop from Nick Bosa into a passing lane or something like that. I could see that happening, where you're trying to bait him into throwing hot on a slant, and then you're dropping someone unexpected underneath.
Niners will do that a lot.
Yeah.
They'll blitz Warner and then drop Bosa or Armstead and just hope for that.
Yeah.
Like I said, like slant that's right to him.
And what I would expect in return the Chiefs to do to try to combat that, a lot of window dressing, a lot of different formations, and to use tempo to go fast. If you go fast, the Niners can't do as much crazy stuff, especially early, and you can sort of make them be vanilla and make your pure reads and try to tire them out.
And not rotate personnel in that D-line, too.
Yeah.
I think staying fresh is a big reason why they win.
Yeah.
This is going to be a Russell Wilson-esque game for Mahomes, I think. He's going to be under pressure quite frequently, and he will make plays, even though he will be. So he's going to have to. I mean, he's been balling out so far in the playoffs, and I don't think that's going to end. And I think his ability to extend plays is a little bit underrated. I think he ran like a 4.8 40.
He's a good athlete.
He's a good athlete. Fun fact, Peyton Manning also ran a 4.8 40. You don't really think of him as a speed
Really?
guy. But yeah, I don't know what that says about the argument I just made. But
it doesn't help you at all.
Mahomes can do it any way that he needs to. And I don't think I've seen a quarterback as versatile both on the ground and maybe Lamar Jackson. I don't know.
Wilson.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Russell Wilson.
I know you're trolling about it.
I'm trolling you. But this is going to be Mahomes or die for this Chiefs offense. They're not going to be able to run the ball. I'm predicting it's going to be another Mahomes is their leading rusher type of day. I don't think Damian Williams gets... Damian Williams? Mm-hmm. Damian Williams. Who's Darrell Williams? That's someone, right?
That's someone else there, too.
I don't think Damian Williams gets anything going. I don't think LaShawn McCoy is the same shady McCoy we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
This is going to be probably a 50 rush yard day for Mahomes, 400-something pass yard day from Mahomes. And the only way they win is if Mahomes can extend plays and they get some scramble drills down the field. And I think they have the chemistry to do it. And the speed to do it. And, they say speed kills, and this team has more speed than any team in the league on offense. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a matchup. This is going to be the worst matchup for the Niners that they've had, I think.
I would say the Ravens are a worse matchup for the sense that they have trouble stopping mobile quarterbacks. But Mahomes against any defense, except for the Chargers, which did incredibly well against them this year, that's a mismatch.
Yeah.
But half of the interceptions in his career have come off of 4 rushers or less, and the Niners rush only 4 guys more than any most in the league. They don't blitz all that much.
Because they don't have to.
When they do blitz, they will bring a linebacker or a nickel back and drop a lineman back. So they're not a huge blitzing team. I mean, still his numbers, half his interceptions, it wasn't that much. He still has crazy stats.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the key is, can the Niners force Mahomes to turn the ball over?
Yeah.
They can intercept. Cause I don't want to get too much into the Niners offense. Jimmy G's going to throw a pick. It's going to happen. Every game he has one.
Hot take.
I mean, every game he has 2 or 3 throws that you're like, what the hell are you thinking? And that's the way he is. If they can get Mahomes to throw a pick, cause a fumble, be even at least in that turnover battle, that would be a huge, huge win for them, I think.
I mean, it's been 2 games and he hasn't thrown a pick. He hasn't even looked close to throwing a pick
it's
from
tough.
what I remember.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done because he's the best quarterback. He's the best player in the league right now. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, this is the money matchup. This is, you have the 2 gladiators, arguably the best quarterback versus the best defense this year.
So, I was going to speak to that because, interestingly, I know DVOA tells a different story, but I was looking at the rankings throughout the regular season, and the Niners defense The Niners' offense is ranked higher in points per game than the Chiefs' offense, and the Chiefs' defense is ranked higher in points per game points allowed than the Niners. So that sort of tells an interesting story, in that I think this is a lot more evenly matched than people might think. And you look at the Niners as this sort of well-rounded team, but the Chiefs played well. I mean, they don't have the same talent, they don't have the same pass rush, but they played well on defense.
Well, the Chiefs, in a lot of games, they did what they did against the Texans, where they give up points and then we'll shut them down in the second half, and then score a bunch at the end. Niners are the opposite. Niners would drop a 20-point lead on you, and then run the ball to death, and then let chunk plays happen in the air afterwards. But no, you're right. I mean, it's not too over just offense. Niners or Chiefs offense versus Niners defense, but that's the story of this game.
It's really close too. I mean, Chiefs 28.2 points per game. That's fifth. Niners 29.9 points per game. That's second, and this is offense. Defense, Chiefs 19.2 points allowed per game. Niners 19.4 points allowed per game. They're seventh and eighth respectively.
It's pretty crazy.
So if you take the average over 16 games, this is going to be one for the books.
Oh yeah, I mean it is. But I'm still, as a Niners fan, not trying to be biased, but
be biased.
No, I'm saying
please be biased. No, be biased.
I am not. I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't matter what defense you put in front of him or against him. He has yet to be stopped. So who's going to be the first one to stop him? Niners? Maybe. But I've seen this story too many times with the Niners where you're confident, and then against the Saints, you can shut down Drew Brees and they score 46 points against them. So, I mean, I'm saying if they can get one or two turnovers and make that big play at the end of the game, you'll hear more about the big play that I think is going to happen. I have a dream about it. So I think it won't happen, but I think, you never know, that if they can get that big play in the fourth quarter, one team's going to make a big defensive play or a big special teams play. And whatever happens with that, that's who's going to win the game.
Yeah. I mean, the Chiefs are averaging 43 points per game in the playoffs, so
it's crazy.
You're going to need some sort of big plays on defense, I think.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to need to make a takeaway.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a mistake. It's going to be a great play.
Yeah. On either side.
Oh.
Yeah, Jimmy G throws his stupid ass pass. But you never know. Never know.
I think it's maybe going to be the opposite of what people might think. I think if Patrick Mahomes has to throw for 400 or 500 yards, the Chiefs are going to lose. If they can't run the ball and can't stay at least somewhat balanced and hold the Niners accountable, I think the secondary is good enough to make Mahomes make a mistake. He has to be perfect against this secondary. This is the number one secondary in the league.
Yeah,
they've thrived off of teams coming from behind, having to throw, and they're still the number one secondary in the team. Yeah. Even there might be garbage time situations, and still they're the number one secondary in the league. So if he's got to do it all, if he's got to do it all, and Nick Bosa gets 50 opportunities to sack him, he's going to get him at least once or twice. Yeah. Maybe he causes a fumble, sack strip. D Ford comes in there. That's a lot to put on the shoulders of a relatively young quarterback. This is his second year starting. It seems like he's been in the league for a long time.
Relatively young, but also, I mean, you're talking about a guy who threw 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, MVP of the league last year. So, he's young, but he's hands down the best quarterback in the game right now.
But I see what you mean. The Super Bowl is a different beast. I mean, we've seen guys like Cam Newton, MVP, one of the best years, best years of his career,
or not as good, but even like Jared Goff last year, he had a pretty good year, and then he shit the bed in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So
I mean, first time, I get it, but I think Mahomes is a different talent than what we've seen with these other guys. But I do agree with what you're saying.
I mean, the most underrated, I guess, aspect of this game, I think, is the Chiefs' offensive line. They have to keep Mahomes upright. If they're not an awful offensive line, they don't have a great offensive line. I mean, you have Eric Fisher, former number one pick overall. Mitchell Schwartz, one of the best right tackles in the league. They have to be rocks. They have to be really good. If you give up that one play, and against the Niners, every offensive line has given up at least 2 or 3 sacks against these guys. You can't shut them down totally, but you gotta limit the damage. You gotta hope that the sack that's rolling out on the play, that's not your fault. Or something like that. Because if D Ford, if he goes off the edge quickly,
he will.
Strip sack.
He will.
That's gonna be tough.
And I totally, if you're passing the ball 50, 60 times in a game, the odds go up that you're going to get sacked.
Yeah.
And especially against this front.
Happen.
And the fact that you can get pressure with a 4-man front is every defensive coordinator's wet dream, essentially. This is like, if you can get pressure without blitzing and then you have all your players back in coverage, like that's everything you could ever want as a defensive coordinator. And if that's something that happens, actually, I'll rephrase. That's something that needs to happen for the Niners to win this game. So
give him home time to throw. He's going to dissect you.
Yeah.
Any last comments on this matchup before we flip it?
I'm ready to flip the script. Talk about the Niners offense, the Chiefs defense.
Want to start it off then?
Yeah, I can give you the DVOAs.
Do it.
So the Chiefs DVOA is minus 3.4%. Again, minus is good. So they're allowing 3.4% less points versus teams than the average team would. And the 49ers offense is plus 7.2%. So Niners have the advantage there, just like the Chiefs had the advantage in the first side of things with the Chiefs offense versus the Niners defense, but not by much in both scenarios. So I think the power of the Niners is how balanced they can be.
Yeah.
And the way that Shanahan schemes those things up with his pre-snap motions, his formations, the wrinkles that he adds on top of it, run, pass, play action, RPO, all that kind of stuff, it really forces defenses to play everything 100% honest. Like it's going to be any possible play in the playbook. And when they're looking at everything and they're thinking a lot, they're prone to mistakes, and that's when you get the big chunk plays that are ripped off with Raheem Mostert getting around the edge because someone shot inside, or George Kittle's wide open over the middle, even though he's their number one receiver. Those kind of things start happening when you're looking in the backfield, seeing Deebo Samuel run a jet sweep motion or an orbit motion or a fake handoff this way, the other way, and now Kyle Juszczyk's down the sideline. And that gives the 49ers offense a huge advantage in my eyes. And I don't see that as much with the Chiefs offense. As much as Andy Reid is thought of as a really good offensive coach, and he is, I don't see that kind of innovation this year from him. So for me, the 49ers offense, while the DVOA says the gap is relatively minimal versus the Chiefs defense, I think it's going to be pretty significant. And I think the Niners should be able to do almost whatever they want. If they can stay balanced, that's going to be their key. So if they get turned into being a one-dimensional offense, then they might run into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah. I mean, the Chiefs defense is much better than last year. Last year they were
for sure.
terrible.
Way improved.
This year they're respectable. They're not,
not elite.
But they have some guys. They have Frank
enough.
Clark. They got Honey Badger this year. So they got Chris Jones, who's now back healthy. I wish he was still hurt because he is a menace on the inside. But the whole Jimmy G throwing 8 passes will not happen this game. He will have to throw the ball. And I think the Chiefs will stack the box and force Jimmy to beat him, which, I mean, it's happened before this year with other teams. But, I think early, a lot of play action.
Yeah.
A lot of play action. Target Emmanuel Sanders early. He's been so quiet in the playoffs, and was their best, I guess, pure receiver during the regular season. Deebo came on late, but get the ball to Sanders, get Deebo on those reverses, on those jet sweeps. Look for Kyle Juszczyk, as you mentioned. He hasn't had a big catch in a while. He does really good off of that play action where he runs that wheel route.
Yeah.
That I think they'll run that play, and they'll have to get creative. Got to run a trick play. Which they do almost one kind of tricky play game.
Empty the basket, man.
Yeah, exactly. You have to. Their trick play has to be a home run,
like a really special home run, right? Like something like that, that caliber.
Yeah, it has to be a knockout punch. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Kittle, I think, I would put Honey Badger on him. I mean, there's a size differential, but that guy's so scrappy and tough to get past that I would do that one-on-one matchup. They got some decent corners. They got Fuller. So, it doesn't not lock down corner. But it's going to be the guys like Juszczyk. It's going to be, the screen passes, get the ball out quick. Play action, get Jimmy moving outside the pocket. Don't let him just sit in the pocket all day. He's in the pocket all day, that's where he gets in trouble. And that's where he makes the stupid throws.
Yeah.
Get him outside the pocket. have him, one read, if not a short dump off to Mozart or juice check again. I think that's will work. But this is the game where Jimmy is going to have the win for you, but that doesn't mean he has to play hero ball. It doesn't mean he doesn't have to throw for 400 yards. It means he has to hit the guys that are open.
Yeah.
Go for that 10-yard pass instead of that one that might be 15 yards in tighter coverage. Mm-hmm. Play smart, but play aggressive.
There's a saying, quarterback can't win the game by himself, but he can lose it by himself. And
I don't know. Patrick Mahomes might be winning games by himself, man. I mean,
someone's got to catch it. Someone's got to block.
That's true.
So I think it'll be interesting how they choose to defend Kittle. And the Chiefs do a lot of rotating safeties and pieces on their defense to confuse quarterbacks. So that's, since their pass rush isn't elite, they have Frank Clark. They have a couple of pieces that help a lot, but they're nowhere near what the Niners can generate pass rush wise. But with these rotating players and defensive backs, it causes quarterbacks to diagnose stuff post snap, and they hold the ball a little bit longer, and that's what helps their pass rush get home. That being said, you don't really want to rotate a bunch of guys out of position or leave vulnerable spots in your defense when a team can run the ball down your throat.
Yeah.
So if you're rotating a safety out to try to confuse Jimmy G, and then they're just running right where you're rotating from.
The audible.
Yeah. So you got to establish the run and keep them out of those exotic looks like we were talking on the other side. You want to keep the defenses in as vanilla a look as possible, because I'm sure Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs defense is going to try to confuse Jimmy G, because while he's been playing fantastic this year, and I think he's been slept on by a lot of people, he hasn't played in a big game, and he hasn't been really challenged in the playoffs. You know, the Vikings game was dealt with sort of within the first quarter or two. Yeah. The Packers game was dealt with within the first quarter or two, and he hasn't been asked to carry the team yet.
Get the Saints.
Well,
I mean, that's not a
playoff game,
do or die situation. He played phenomenally.
Fair enough.
This is where I think good coaching comes into play too. You need to, as Kyle Shanahan, I think it's very important you have success in your first or second offensive possession. Yeah. And by success, I mean field goal, touchdown, any sort of points. You need to get people settled down, composed. This is a young team relatively. I mean,
very young team.
Jimmy G, I know he was on the Patriots and he's seen what success looks like, and he's been in that system, which I'm sure helps a little bit. You know, you see how to act in these situations and how to try to stay composed. But I mean, Debo, Raheem Mostert, a lot of these skill position guys are young. They're relatively young players. Yeah. So I'm thinking
he's young.
Kittle's young too. Kittle, people, you don't really think about it because he's setting records and he's playing like the best tight end in the league. But he's also young. I'm not worried about his mindset though. I think he's got it. He's just too insane and to be frazzled at all.
He's been playing with torn labrum last 2 years.
Yeah. The dude bangs his head against the wall before every game.
And then they asked him like, "Oh, why didn't you get surgery?" He's like, "Well, if I get surgery, then I can't work out in the off season." Like, isn't off season the time I'm supposed to recover? He goes, "No, that's the time I bulk up and like get big."
He's an absolute madman, and I love it.
Insane.
It's amazing, but I think you need to come out, have success, maybe rely on your veterans a little bit more. We haven't seen much from Emmanuel Sanders so far these playoffs. I think this could be a big Emmanuel Sanders game.
It has to be.
He has been in situations
He's been Super Bowls.
So this is his time to kind of step up as a veteran on this team. I know it's his first year, but he's an impact player, and I think it's important to rely on those people who have been in this situation. I think the staying composed is a relatively underrated aspect of this game that is very important.
Yeah. And I think, sort of like you're saying, I think the Niners struck me as, whenever I'm watching them, not that they get down when they're down. Number one, they haven't been down that much.
I can't even think of
when they're rolling.
Atlanta?
The amount of juice
Saints.
that's on that sideline and the way they're feeling themselves.
It's tough to stop.
Like, when they're rolling and they're feeling themselves, they have the chemistry. I think it's that sort of X factor of them actually enjoying each other and enjoying the coach and the culture that's being built there and all that kind of stuff. When they're firing on all cylinders, like, that team is almost impossible to stop. So you can't let that happen if you're the Chiefs. Find a way.
Chiefs needed early turnover on defense.
Yeah.
They
do. They need to rattle them somehow, just to make them think like, oh, hold on, this isn't going to be like the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. I don't know that happens though. I mean, I feel like
I don't think the Niners will get down regardless, but you don't want them to be up. is
totally
what we're trying to say.
But this is a 26th ranked Chiefs run defense.
Yeah,
and this is a second ranked.
That's why I think they
Niners run offense.
Yeah.
So
this crap out of the box.
I mean, this Niners offense is so predicated on the run.
Oh yeah,
that
run first.
I don't care how you could put every player in the box on the Chiefs.
I mean, that's what the Packers and Vikings the last 2 weeks. They still could have,
and it didn't work. So I don't know, man. I think that is huge. Like you put Raheem Mostert out there. You even put Breida, whoever you got. Tevin Coleman may play. That's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
And it speaks to that composure aspect. You can run the ball, get a first down, get 3 first downs in a row. You haven't even thrown the ball with Jimmy G. You bet your ass Jimmy G is feeling like, fuck yeah, we got this.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I can throw the ball. I'm not shaky. I'm composed in the pocket.
Yeah.
Ready to make good decisions. You come out and you throw the ball, and he turns the ball over, like you were saying. That's a whole different story. That snowballs from there, and then the whole game is different. That cannot happen. Like that would be disastrous for the Niners.
Yeah. One thing I do say about Jimmy, that after he throws the interception, that next drive, he's like Patrick Mahomes. His completion percentage is like 75%. He hasn't thrown back-to-back picks this year, which I mean most quarterbacks haven't, but that's pretty telling. But it's that, if it's an interception early and the Chiefs go up by 2 scores.
Yeah, and you just compared him to the guy he's playing. So I mean, you're speaking to how great that man is.
I mean, I like Jimmy G. I'm a big fan of him, but like he makes those like 2 to 3 throws a game, and you're just like, dude, what are you thinking? Like, one against the Vikings, he threw right to Kendricks. I mean, there's like a receiver like 5 yards behind him, and it's like right to him. And he does that all the time because his pre-snap reads are pretty good, but when the pre-snap read is wrong, then he's screwed. I mean, and that's what happens. That happens every quarterback.
And it's important to remember he hasn't played 2 full seasons yet.
This is his first year as quarterback.
Yeah, first full season he's completed, and he had 4 or 5 games the year before that, and then a couple games the year before that.
Last 5 games in the Niners in 2018 or 2017. Last year 3 games.
Yeah.
He tore his ACL against the Chiefs, ironically enough.
So
another storyline in this game.
Yeah, that's great. He's
played
revenge game.
Yeah.
Whatever, 16 plus 2, 18, and then
he's like 24-5 as a starter, which is incredible. It's like
so he's played
one of the
29
best of all
games.
time.
So he's played 3 games short of 2 full seasons.
Yeah.
Even though he's on his second contract, he's not a rookie anymore. He's been in the league for like 5 or 6 years.
He's 28.
Is he 28?
28.
Wow.
Because he was a fifth.
He's past his
year.
rookie contract, so he's plus it's 4, and then a couple years with the Niners.
Yeah, look it up. I mean, I think he's 28.
I think he's 27.
But he's
not a young guy, but he's inexperienced.
He's inexperienced.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Jimmy G guy. Obviously, I'm wearing his jersey right now.
28.
It's just
he just recently turned 28.
I don't think he has a bad game necessarily. It's just is he going to make the mistake?
Yeah.
And if he doesn't make the mistake, how costly is it?
Yeah.
Is it a pick 6?
Can the Chiefs
is it backed up in your own territory?
Yeah.
You're about to score. What's the scenario? And are you up? Are you that game-winning drive and you have him in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he actually in the games he's been ice. He's been really good. So not too worried about that. But it's just what Jimmy G are you going to see? Are you see the okay Jimmy G where he does enough to win a game, or will you see the Jimmy G that's going to win you a game? Against the Saints, he won that game for them. I mean, Kittle had the beast run, but he kept them in that game the entire time.
He did.
Or is he going to do? I'm trying to think of a game against the Cardinals early this year. He had 2 interceptions, didn't play great, but then he let them down at the end to win the game for them. So if he throws more than 1 interception, I don't see the Niners winning. If he has more than 1 turnover, I guess as well, he fumbles the ball quite a bit. I don't see the Niners winning because they can't have that turnover.
Well, the only way that you win that is if you force
Mahomes
to turn the ball over as well.
I'd see him throw an interception maybe once.
So that's the thing, though. This is what this is going to be. It's going to be which team makes less mistakes.
Yeah.
And
which team makes that splash play at the end of the game. Which, I mean, say for any game, but on Super Bowl, for sure. I mean, you saw last year with the Patriots. They didn't make that many turnovers, and then they had the big element catch at the end, a big Gronk catch at the end, and that was it.
Yep.
That's the game.
Yeah.
And the Rams, a lot of mistakes, a lot of stupid mistakes. Penalties as well. Niners have been relatively penalty-free this season, but there have been moments where they get lazy and sloppy.
Yeah. Speaking of both of your points, I have some stats to back that up.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Number one
stats.
indicator, they're not real number one indicator of possibility to win the game, turnovers. Yeah. Number 4, explosive plays. Yeah. So explosive plays are runs of over 12 yards or pass plays of over 16 yards.
That's what
and
the
if you win
Chiefs
that,
do best.
Yeah, you have a good chance of winning. It's the number 4 indicator.
So wait, say that again.
Turnovers is number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then the explosive plays. What do we classify?
A run that's over 12 yards or a pass play that's over 16 yards.
So the Niners can just as easily bust off a 12-yard run. They did it basically every play last game.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, the thing is that the Chiefs' explosive plays aren't 16 yards; they're 60 yards. Mm-hmm. But I'm confident. They interviewed last night, the opening night, the media day, whatever you want to call it. They talked to Jimmy and George, and they said their game plan was finalized Sunday. So that makes me feel a little bit better. Like Shanahan, like he knows what he wants to do, and like he has everything in place. They'll tweak it, of course, throughout the week if they see something else. But
see what works.
Their game plan is set. Like they have. This is how we're going to beat them. And if you have that early as possible, the guys are more confident.
Yeah.
So sure. I don't think either team is lacking in confidence coming to this week.
No,
I don't think. I'm sure they both think they're going to win.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely, they have confidence. They both have talent in different places. And they both have great coaches. Let's move on to our next segment. Let's talk about some players we think could be surprising stars in this game.
I'll start. It's a Chief. He's a rookie. Mecole Hardman. He's got speed. He's probably going to get less attention than Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce. There's going to be opportunities for him. I don't know what the Chiefs' plan will be, whether they'll put him on Sherman's side and just say, like, all right, you're probably not going to get the ball.
Clear out.
Yeah. And then we want Tyreek Hill on Mosley, or if it'll be vice versa. But I think there's going to come a point where someone besides Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce is going to need to make a play, and I think he's the best option. I think those two guys can take eyes off of someone with Mecole Hardman that has speed, and he might be able to get over the top of that defense and make a big splash play that ends up impacting the game.
He gets one like splash play opportunity a game, at least one, like one deep throw or one
like every receiver on that team does.
But he's a diet Tyreek Hill, where he doesn't have the hand skills, but he's as fast, almost as fast. He is fast.
He's not as shifty. He's faster. He's just speed, maybe as fast straight line. He's a little taller, I think, as well.
Yeah, but Tyreek Hill's like a hamster weakness.
Yeah, he's
very
got
short area weakness.
No, that's a good one. I have two. I'm going to cheat. D Ford, we talked about beforehand. It's kind of cheating because he's not really underrated. But he's X factor in that D-line. He's a guy coming off the edge, speed rushing that makes the quarterback step up into the teeth of the defense. 22% sack rate when he's in compared to 5% when he is not, which is huge.
It's good.
Huge. Other one, the Chief, Dustin Colquitt, the punter. Like, Chiefs have a pretty strong special teams unit. They had some turnovers last few games, but not like his fault. Well, one was a block punt. But I think, as I said previously, Mahomes didn't get yards. The Chiefs will get yards. The Niners can stop him on like the 50-yard line, and in return, Colquitt can punt him down into the 10-yard line. That will totally change the game. Back the Niners up, make it more difficult for them.
Special teams.
Yeah, that wins your game. That wins your game. So watch out for him.
Mine, I'm going to say Kareem Hunt. Just kidding. He's throwing his career away doing other things. Okay, it's going to be kind of similar to Casey's. I think there's a different receiver that has a huge impact. We've seen him have impacts in games. He has had a few good seasons and then kind of fell off from the hype that he was supposed to be. It's Sammy Watkins. I think we see sort of what we saw in week 1. 150 plus yards, few touchdowns, 8 to 10 receptions. This is going to be a big game for Sammy Watkins for the reasons that Casey was outlining. Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill will scare the shit out of this Niners secondary. And then what do? Underneath, you also have to... Kelsey. You have to guard Kelce. You can't let Kelce run away. So who does that leave, in my mind? You're not going to let anybody beat you deep. I feel like that's the game plan. You're saying we cannot let Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman get behind our defense and get easy touchdowns like that. Mahomes has the strongest arm in the league. We have to stop the deep ball. I think you're going to get some open, easy looks to Sammy Watkins, and he's fast as well, and he's elusive, and you get the ball in his hands, and he's good in space. So I'm thinking Sammy Watkins is kind of the odd man out in terms of who's going to be defended and who the Niners can cover, and he's going to have the opportunity. Sammy, I know your career hasn't been how you wanted, man. If you're listening, you're probably not, but this is your chance. You came out hot. You had a few, 1,000-yard season. I think maybe a 1,000-yard season. He had a close.
He was his rookie year pick.
And his rookie year was close. I'm looking at it right now. And then you fell off a cliff. That's fine. Climb your way back up. This is your chance to climb your way back up and redeem your career and win a Super Bowl. And I think he's the X factor on offense.
Yeah, I would keep an eye out for Deebo Samuel for the 49ers.
Yeah.
Another rookie to keep an eye on, because Shanahan likes to give him at least a couple touches, especially in the red zone. And if he can make the most of those opportunities, he can make a game-changing play.
Yeah,
he's a physical dude. Get him on a jet sweep
fast.
or a trick play or something like that. He's got enough speed.
He's going to be really good if he stays healthy. That's
very good pick for the 49ers.
Great pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we...
moment of truth now.
Moment of truth. Should we talk about who we're going to pick? I just want to say I have been undecided up until right now.
It's very true.
And I just decided. So here we go.
You got to go first now.
Why do I have to go first?
You just talked about it, so now you got to do it.
I don't want to go first.
Fine, Casey, you go first. I'll go first. I'm the most obvious pick here.
All right. Okay. You should go first.
Shout out my boy David Belshaw. I saw his pick that was posted on the Weekly Sprout Instagram page.
Yeah.
Late last week. I agree with it. I'm going to go Niners 34-31. Last second field goal by Robbie Gould to win the game.
I would be happy with overtime in this game.
Oh, and also we're picking our MVP too, right?
Yeah,
the game?
after this. We got to choose our winner, and then
winner Niners. My MVP, little surprise pick, I'm going with Nick Bosa. We talked about the splash play to end the game. I had a dream that Nick Bosa took a picture with Trump in the Oval Office.
You had a dream, or Nick Bosa had a dream? This sounds like Nick Bosa's dream.
It is his dream, but I had a dream because the whole thing on tour the last 3 weeks has been, Bosa's playing extra hard to meet Trump.
Yeah.
I think there's actually the truth behind that. But it's going to come down to that splash play. I think Bosa's going to cause a strip fumble on Mahomes, and that will help the Niners win this game. I think he gets 2 sacks this game in the fumble, which changed the game around. The quarterback will probably win either winning team, but more fun to do it this way. So Nick Bosa, Super Bowl MVP.
Okay. I think it'll be very difficult for a defensive player to win MVP.
And Von Miller did it.
Yeah. But Von Miller's a different type of player, too.
There's no fun in saying, Jimmy G's going to win.
Well, you're going to hate my pick then.
Or love it.
I'm just kidding. But go ahead, Casey.
All right. Cyrus and I came in and tied for the postseason. I don't know what he's feeling right now. But this Super Bowl could decide who wins the postseason picks.
We're both 7-3 in what we've picked in the playoffs. So
I'm unofficially 10-0, but proceed.
You're unofficially
undefeated on the season too.
You're just 0-0, but that's okay.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I think they're the underdog. And I think if the 49ers play a perfect game, the 49ers should win, because I think overall their talent level is a little bit better. But I trust a quarterback in a big situation, and I got to go with Mahomes. I think he can just get on fire like no other quarterback except for maybe Aaron Rodgers in his heyday, the early 2010s, 2010, 11, 12, in there. Otherwise, I don't know that we've seen a quarterback play like he has. And this is his first shot at cementing his legacy and his coach's legacy. And I think those players love Andy Reid, and it's time for Andy Reid to win a Super Bowl. And I think the guys are going to rally behind him, and I have the Chiefs winning 37-35.
Hot take. I think if they win Super Bowl, that Andy Reid retires.
He's got Patrick Mahomes. He's got Tyreek Hill.
I think
dream team.
He needs that one.
Don't use
title.
that word. Don't you dare say the words dream team in my presence.
I think the last thing he needs in his career is Super Bowl. Like once he gets one, I think he's what else does he need?
He just loves the game too much.
He does. I mean, he make a lot of money, be on ESPN, and
he won't retire.
Talking out his ass for millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I have a fun fact before we get to Cyrus's pick.
Oh boy.
Teams that score 30-plus points in the Super Bowl are 27-3 overall, all time.
Sure.
I think that's going to be 28-4. because I think both teams are going to score
30.
Over 30.
Hammer that over.
Yeah,
like we said
I
at the
agree with
beginning.
that.
Hammer that over.
I totally agree with that. I'm very conflicted on this. This is a very tough choice for me. On one hand, my heart wants to pick the Chiefs because Andy Reid is special to me as an Eagles fan. He was the only coach I knew growing up on the team that I loved and love, I should say. So I would love to pick the Chiefs, but then my brain is sort of battling my heart on this and saying logically, it would make sense to pick the Niners. Mm-hmm. So I'm torn and I'm struggling to pick. But I think you kind of said it earlier, Casey. One man doesn't win you a football game. Mm-hmm. And I have not ever seen, I don't think, in my lifetime, a team more complete and more cohesive than this current Niners team. So if football truly is a team sport and it takes more than one person to win, I got to give the edge to the Niners. Very, very slight edge. It's almost a pick 'em game in my mind. They're very equal, and I think either team could win. But I think having that combination of a great defense and a great offense versus just an elite offense and an okay defense, I think it puts the Niners slightly ahead. So my prediction for the Super Bowl is 37-34 in a very close barn burner. Had to throw that in there. With the 49ers coming out on top and winning their 6th Super Bowl.
I hope so.
We all think it's going to be a close game.
I hope so.
I think it will be, man. You know what? Just please not like last year.
I don't think that's not happening. Yeah,
that's all I
want.
want.
That's not going to happen.
That's all that needs to happen. Just not nobody shit the bed, please.
I just really hope a red team wins.
And, you might be out of luck.
Tie.
You might be out of luck on that one.
It's going to be, I don't know, I'm scared, but it's fun. The Niners team had no expectations coming into the year. I was hoping for 8-8.
That's part of the beauty of it.
That's why this is
so magical.
I want them to win so bad, but it's like this season's been so special and so awesome.
It almost reminds me of the Eagles season a few years ago.
I
low
agree.
expectations.
I agree.
Huge performances.
And Niners have been bad 80% of my life. So
you've had some really good years. You were
3 years
in the NFC Championship
3 years.
3 years in a row.
You went to the Super Bowl.
3 years. Those 3 years with Harbaugh, and that was it. I mean, as a kid, I was really, really young. They had Terrell Owens and Steve, Jeff Garcia.
Yeah.
But I was 5-6 years old, so I don't really remember too much. I remember T.O. doing a star pose.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite
that's my
NFL
first memory of
moments
football
ever.
Yeah,
that's my first actual football memory.
I love T.O., man.
I love him too.
I'm so mad at the way Donovan McNabb forced him out.
This team's been so bad forever. It's just the fact that they are doing this makes me happy. But the better win or I'll cry.
Quest for
Touché.
6.
Quest for 6.
Quest for 6.
One for the other thumb.
I think that's going to wrap things up here, fellas. What do you think? Any final thoughts before we take it home?
Go Niners.
It's been a fun season.
Go Niners. Been a fun season. I agree. It has been a fun season, and it's been super fun doing this with you guys throughout this entire season. The regular season coverage will end after the Super Bowl, but we will keep going. We have a lot of stuff coming up for draft season. We have a lot of stuff coming up for the offseason in general. Free agency, things are going to stay constant. Uploads every week. Stay tuned for that. Lots of blog posts coming, especially with draft coverage. Durgin is going to get involved in some blog posts, so that'll be exciting.
Big board has 25 deep right now.
25 deep on the big board. Stay tuned. That's going to come out soon. We are really grateful for you guys for tuning in every week. We could not do this without you, and we would not do this without you, so it means a lot to us. We really appreciate it. We're all excited for the Super Bowl. I think we can say that, right?
Yeah, we are.
And this is going to be a good one, guys. So go Niners, I guess. I'm going to say, because I want to beat Casey in our picks.
How dare you?
But like I said, my heart wants Andy Reid to win, so either way, I'm a winner. But yeah, with that, I think we're going to wrap things up here. So we will see you next week, and we will recap the Super Bowl. And with that, as Durgin always says,
good night and good luck, and bang bang Niner gang.
We gotta cut that.
Oh boy. I like the passion though.